From many angles, this puzzle appears to be a regular 3x3x2 cuboid, as 4 of its faces look completely normal. The other 2 faces are peculiar. The slices are italicized, crisscrossing from top to bottom. It's an off-putting change. When you look at a 3x3x2 and wonder, how can we modify this? Disconnecting and reconnecting the cuts certainly doesn't come to mind. This very intriguing puzzle was created by Akkei, and today I'm doing a deep dive into exploring exactly how it works, after which I'll scramble it and see whether I can solve it. This is a very special video. This is the kickoff for the 2025 Puzzle Advent Calendar, the 8th annual series of 24 never-before-seen puzzles made and shown by tons of different creators. It is a daily series, so if you're watching my video the day it came out, thank you. But there wouldn't be any other puzzles released just yet. Keep following the playlist linked in the description below to stay up to date with all the new puzzles as December progresses. This year's lineup is really exciting. It features the most puzzle creators we've ever had in a single year. And if this is your first time hearing about the Puzzle Advent Calendar and you want to see more than 150 unique puzzles from the past 7 years, all of the previous playlists are on my channel. Since this cuboid is in the Puzzle Advent Calendar, it must have never been made before. But that might be surprising to hear, because doesn't it kind of look similar to several other puzzles you may have seen in the past? Actually, none of these puzzles are what they look like. Even this new cuboid only has a superficial resemblance to the 3x3x2, since while some of the turns do work normally, once you make any turn on the italicized axis, it's game over. What even is this? Do you want to try imagining what this looks like scrambled? I'll give you a few seconds to visualize it. Yeah, that's just a mess. So to understand this very odd cuboid, let's take a trip down memory lane and reveal what all of these weird puzzles actually are. This is the mental series. The oldest member of the family is the mental block. Invented by Tony Fisher in the mid-90s, it looks like a 3x3x1 floppy cube with crisscrossed cuts on every side. All of the mental puzzles are shape mods of something, so what do you think this one is? It's just a scube, that's it. To this day, it still blows my mind that a simple scube mod can look like this. But anyway, the mental block spawned many creative variations, this one being the mental flop. This copy was designed by Greg Fenig in the 2010s, but it looks like the first one was made by Leopard a bit earlier. The mental flop looks to be closer to Akkei's puzzle, having italicized cuts on 2 sides and normal cuts on the other 2. So, what do you think the mental flop is a shape mod of? Something scube related maybe? Nope, this is actually just a 2x2x3 cuboid. Seriously. You have both of the vertical turns, and you also have the 3 layers. At this point, we've seen the 2 types of mental puzzles, the scubes such as the mental block, and the cuboids like the mental flop. Many other mental puzzles have been made since. The master mental block is a master scube, the master mental flop is a 2x2x4, the elite mental block is an elite scube, and the professor mental flop is a 3x3x5. I thought this one was interesting because Greg used a slightly different method of building the professor mental flop and not the SLS prints we're used to seeing from him. It's built by hand with epoxy, which in turn was filled with expired chicken noodles? What? So which category do you think Akkei's new mental puzzle falls into? Scube or cuboid? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. If you picked cuboid, unfortunately that's not correct. This puzzle isn't analogous to any cuboid. Now, if you pick scube, that's even more wrong. This is definitely not a scube. What is it then? Well, you might have noticed that up until now I haven't revealed this puzzle's name, and that's because it would have exposed what it's a shape mod of. Introducing the Emmental Flop. I actually had to come up with that name myself, because when I asked Akkei what the puzzle was called, all I got in return was a cat gif. So, this puzzle is a cheese, Emmental is a type of Swiss cheese, and it has mental in the name. I know the name's a cheesy joke, but it's all I got. I'd guess only about half of you probably know what a cheese is, so I'll quickly explain. Cheese is a fermented milk product made by separating milk into water and curds. Oh, cheese puzzles. Oh yeah, this ain't your grandma's cheese. I'm not sure if there's a formal definition of any sort, but the way I understand it is, cheeses are twisty puzzles split into an even number of identical pieces. The very first one was the official Rubik's cheese from the 1980s, which had 6 segments. Cheeses can have any amount of layers and any shape on the outside. So, the Emmental flop is a shape mod of a 6-segment, 3-layer cheese. The definition of a cheese is broad enough that it catches some puzzles you might not have expected, especially in the Square 1 family. Thank you, Matt, for the birthday gift. This Square 0 is a 4-segment cheese. The Square 2 is a 12-segment cheese, and the Square 4 is a 20-segment cheese. The 2x2x3 is a 4-segment cheese. What? Okay, wait a second. If the definition is so broad it captures tons of unrelated puzzles, isn't it a worthless definition? No, because all of these cheeses can be solved using the exact same method. You can check out my Minotaur's Maze video if you'd like to learn more, but basically you can solve all of these puzzles using one extremely simple algorithm. So, despite the solve later in this video being my first time trying to solve the Emmental flop, I already know exactly how I'm going to solve the puzzle, with the middle layer being the only exception, as it has been a while since I've tried solving a floppy cheese. Isn't it interesting how the middle layer of this cuboid is actually a shape mod of one of these? It's not easy to add layers onto a floppy cheese and still end up with a puzzle that turns well. My old Hexagon 1 had a floppy cheese in the middle, and its biggest issue is that the middle layer moves too easily, making it difficult to align the top and bottom layers. The Emmental flop, on the other hand, feels great to turn. Every axis has a similar amount of tension, so you can turn the top and bottom layers without the middle layer becoming misaligned. Combined with the nice polished parts and the very clean looking stickers, this feels like an exceptionally well made puzzle. It certainly turns a lot better than the extra split 3x3x2, which is an interesting comparison, because the extra split 3x3x2 is kind of a more advanced version of the Emmental flop. The Emmental flop has straight cuts on 2 sides and diagonal cuts on the other 2, while the extra split 3x3x2 has straight and diagonal cuts on all the sides. However, the only axis capable of making cheese turns is this one. So for example, you can do this, but not the equivalent of this cheese turn. The color scheme is interesting, with white opposite gold, red opposite pink, and green opposite green? But there is an easy explanation. Akkei wanted to go for a more holiday-themed sticker scheme, since this is an advent calendar puzzle. The stickers resemble colors you might find on a gift box, a subtle yet very effective detail. The downside of it being the holiday season now is the sun is only out for like 9 minutes per day, so it's time to head out into the darkness to scramble and solve the Emmental flop. Let's do it. I need to catch the fairy out of here, so let's see if I have enough time to solve the Emmental flop before it arrives. 13 minutes, huh? That should be doable, but it is the last fairy of the night, so if I can't solve the Emmental flop in 13 minutes, I'm swimming. Or maybe I can find a jet ski rental place. This is just a 3-layer cheese, so I'm going to start by putting all of the red and pink pieces on their correct sides, and then I'll use the cheese algorithm to manipulate them within their sides. So let's get started with that. Okay, all of the red pieces are on the red side and all of the pink pieces are on the pink side. So now I'm going to use the cheese algorithm to solve the top and bottom layers. Top and bottom layers are looking good now, so all that's left is the floppy cheese middle layer. This should be okay, but I am a little concerned because there have been a couple of times where I've solved the floppy hexagonal cheese and it took me surprisingly long. I'd attribute it mostly to the fact that I consider this such a basic puzzle that I never bothered memorizing any kind of strategy for it, so sometimes it can catch me off guard a little bit, but let's see if that happens. Okay, no, that was just as easy as it usually is. The Emmental flop is now solved, and I get to make the fairy. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you, Akkei, for letting me review the Emmental flop. Make sure to check out the Advent Calendar playlist and subscribe to all the other people making puzzles for it. It's kind of crazy that the puzzle Advent Calendar has lasted as long as it has. I mean, 8 years of running this collaboration? Who could have predicted that? Obviously, the event has evolved quite a bit over the years in terms of audience and viewership, and I think the best way to keep the collaboration going for you as a viewer is to check out as many of the videos as you can, support the creators. If you found something mind-blowing, share it with your friends, spread the word. I will say the enthusiasm from the puzzle builders has been awesome this year, and we have the most unique puzzle builders participating than we have ever had. So we'll see how the 2025 edition does and go from there. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you another time. Bye.